Welcome to Invite Sent. We are a live streaming show where we interview people and play video games.
Jason, get it in there.
Let's go. Let's go. Got him. Got, son. Still there. Got him.
Excited for that. Ooh, just got in front of you. So I think that.
Got him.
Let's just connect.
He's upset. He's uninstalling the game.
Oh, watch it. Tire.
You should have seen. I jumped right into it.
Oh boy.
Oh, they're
Okay,
here. They're here. Hiya. How do I shoot them? I have a gun, don't I?
No, you don't want to. I would never probably shoot right now in Mercy because your job is to heal us.
Okay. I like to jump right into the gameplay and start asking questions because there's plenty of interviews out there that are just two faces side by side talking about something. But let's not do that. Let's ask you hard questions while you're trying to play a video game on live stream.
I don't think I can talk and clean. It's very complicated.
What is your earliest memory of playing video games?
I do remember playing Pong on, it's probably like the Intellivision.
What was your go-to game then,
A lot of people probably don't know what this is, but it's Romance of the Three Kingdoms.
We had our event last year. I don't even think we were really using the term metaverse. We were just saying we're going to be in Decentraland. Or maybe we did use the term metaverse, but like it wasn't popular. Just like blockchain and crypto didn't really become mainstream popular until NBA Top Shot created those moments and then NFT became popular.
Man, I'm glad you're asking these questions.
One of my go-to games was probably NBA Street Volume 2.
Oh man, you just got picked like a seedless grape.
We are the best video game players in this video
on stream.
On this specific stream. Let me ask this: Why coach? Why coach esports?
I always was an avid gamer. You know, I fell in love with gaming. Life happened.
Yeah.
Got out of gaming for a while, then went back in because of some of my students. You know, I just saw all the career and college pathways, man. And I was like, I don't think nobody else is looking at it the way I'm looking at this thing.
Helps us quite a bit.
I fell off. I fell. I'm sorry.
Oh,
that's dumb.
Okay.
That's first of all, that's dumb that they have a place to. My kill cam is me? Dadgummit. Yeah, that happens in pro Overwatch. Your kill cam is yourself. Oh, I fell off the freaking thing again.
There we go.
Oh, I don't know how to do that. I don't know. Okay. Oh no, did you die? Oh my god. Oh gosh.
Get your school into the high school esports league community. It's complete.
I think those conversations are important to normalize that it's not okay, because as long as you keep saying like this is not okay, then tell me what is okay. And then having those strong females within the gaming space is also definitely a move in the right direction.
I feel like my games were a little easier earlier when I had my lobbies. Pretty sure.
Well, those were bot lobbies. So.
Those were bot lobbies.
They didn't think they could be here. They thought it was just a boys' game, or they weren't comfortable. They didn't want to compete. That really highlighted the fact that we've got to make it more inclusive for girls. We have to make welcoming, open environments. We have to give them champions and examples of mentors that they can see and that they can be. And despite whatever culture or society says, they absolutely are a part of this world, and they can absolutely make a difference in science, technology, engineering, mathematics, art.
So this was a Kickstarter project, correct?
Yeah, so I scraped money together on my own when we went up to Kickstarter.
At what point would we say they move from club to designated under the school's banner?
Obviously, it's going to come from support staff. Having a director of a program and then having per game coaches, I think, is a great way to help with that.
The parent interaction is a big part of it, especially for somebody who's in this industry and, fought to try and be here. What I see is, what I strive for is to show parents that gaming is a legitimate way to create a career for yourself, right? And these tournaments do that.
Is when it comes to character creators, the disabled community is not really represented in the game itself. That was something that we wanted to attack on our way in. So one of the first things we ever built was this character creator. We call them enhancements. So the wheelchairs, you've got different prosthetic,
different eye colors as well.
Heterochromia, different color eyes is heterochromia, which is like super common.
Oh, on this one, you shoot his legs out and then he falls over. And okay, he disappeared for some reason. Okay.
It's one of my favorite things about Apex is I can do absolutely nothing in this period right here.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, look at this! I'm flying. This reminds me of Kingdom Hearts, which have you ever played Kingdom Hearts?
Yeah. My 9-year-old big fan.
So I won victory. Dad dab. Yes. I'm over here hitting R like I'm reloading my gun accidentally for some reason. I have no idea. Or C to crouch and...
I said, so, hey, have you heard about esports and how it's benefiting schools and how it's doing all this for students? And they said, I've heard some of it. Well, did you know that it's happening right now and it's something that you guys can jump on board with?
So I was a sergeant. I was an E5. Seeing the work that we were doing with the kids and seeing like, hey, this is something that we can really build and make a positive influence on the kids that we're working with.
Particularly, Bubba, here's my big thing, particularly people who look like me.
Yeah.
In the educational technology space and in the esports space, because I said that it's being underserved. I need for directors, I need for teachers, I need for students, I need for anybody to, when I'm talking to them, they say, oh, whoa. And they may not say it, but I know sometimes they're thinking it, well, there's this African-American, there's this black man in this space talking esports, talking educational technology. We may have not seen that before, and that's important.
Like as you said earlier, you mentioned like a parent asking about esports challenges for their kid. I think that's like wonderful. Like how many parents back in the day actually had interest in gaming when it's not like, you know, academically viable.
And so I reached out to Mike and Christy. Their contact information was on there. I found them through High School Esports League, which was our league, coincidentally. Christy answered my email and she was like, you know, you've got some technical questions. I'm gonna loop Mike in on this.
Of course.
It was just the best meeting I've ever had.
Hey, I know you're already going to be here for the tennis tournament. You got to come by, dude. Take 15 minutes out of the tennis tournament, come inside, you know, get a breath of the air-conditioned air, and just come see what my kids are doing. And that's all it took. They just had to see it with their own eyes. Oh, these are the kids that are playing in esports. It was the kids who ate lunch by themselves, the kids with no friends, the kids, we were worried about them dropping out of school. But hey, you know what? They came to school on Friday because they wanted to play Super Smash Brothers in the library.
My name's Colin Mullins. I'm the youth pastor and work with 6th through 12th graders. It's probably where we started spending the most time together is when we went to China and put on a soccer camp. Oh, and then got into streaming a couple months ago between my fumbling through the world and gaming all of my life, but now fumbling into streaming and stuff.
One of the things that's really important to me is the kids learn to be positive influence, to not be toxic. I've seen kids get really mean and be bullies.
If the industry truly wants to actually serve these communities, and it's going to come from the publisher down, we're going to have to provide support behind titles that can be played on the platform that these communities can actually have access to. It comes from the publisher down, it's just the empathy comes from the businesses and the consumers down.
You know what? Let me in front of you. Let me be your shield, and that way you don't die as quick.
In addition, I think one of the more exciting things I got to do is I got to be one of the official co-streamers for the Overwatch League opening day this past season.
Well, my background's actually in acting. I went to school for musical theater back in the day. I don't think I can talk and clean. It's very complicated.
All good things sometimes must come to an end. I'm actually leaving the world of education.
What?
Yep, big reveal. 6 days. I'm actually in conversations right now about my next steps.
This was announced officially here in the public on the show. Were you a CIA agent? I just have to ask you.
I was not. I did work in the Bureau of Intelligence and Research.
Oh crap! Oh crap!
Oh no! Well, it looks like.
I should have stayed so close to the edge.
ESA is the voice and advocate for the video game industry in the United States.
And we're really lucky in that we get to stay really mission driven and stay focused on the impact that this is having on students and schools. We don't really need to get into the nitty gritty of the numbers, which is, I think the thing is like an educator you probably fear when you're leaving the classroom.
If you'd like to be on Invite Sent, to be interviewed and play video games, please go to bubbagatter.com and request to be on the show. And I'll let you know if the invite is sent.
Oh my god.
Trade.
Yeah. Come on in, big guy. Come on. You won't.
How do you heal and how do you live? What?
He threw a black hole at us like Thanos. You can't. That's not a button. I don't have that button.
I don't have that button either. right. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Invite Sent. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Bubba Gaddert. I am so happy that you've come today. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch or Twitter or Facebook or even LinkedIn, we're going to have some fun doing some gameplay here with a very amazing person as we jump into some multiverses. And let's bring him in right now as we get started into the match. Danny Martin, how are you, sir? Welcome to the show.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. I'm definitely good. You know, this is awesome opportunities to be able to impact community. So, and have an opportunity to speak to you and play games. You know, that's probably the first time I've played games in a long time in the morning.
Well, we are definitely gonna play some games. And so, as we get started, please tell me a little about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. I graduated from Lancaster High School, which is in the Dallas area. Approximately about 14 minutes or so from the Dallas, Texas area. I was an athlete. I love basketball, love track. I was a tinker of technology, but I also love entrepreneurship. So like that was a great opportunity for me to work with my uncles and families to be focused in on entrepreneurship. And ultimately, that's what I knew I wanted to do when I went to college. So I actively went up to school, University of Texas at San Antonio, to study entrepreneurship and run track. And that was the moment that I received my bug in regards to, or I would say not even bug, the aha moment in regards to a business that I really wanted to be engaged with, and that was gaming and esports. And so ultimately for me, it was just essentially just being able to fix consoles and run events. And that was a way for me to make some little bit of capital in college, while at the same time fulfilling my requirements as an entrepreneurship major. My teacher allowed me to really build my business plan and everything around that to actively, you know, showcase or develop my skills while I was in college and actually graduate. And so, you know, that's kind of just a little bit about me and my start. But yeah, just wanted to kind of like leave it right there.
Well, it's okay. So I love this path, but I want to go back to like 2008 when you were a computer technician and working in gaming. And I mean, first off, were you? Actually, let's go further back. What was your favorite game growing up?
Let me say, it was really like. Grand Theft Auto was Grand Theft Auto was that first game that my uncles during summer and breaks and things like that were Blockbuster. We'll go to Blockbuster and they'd be like, "Hey, pick a game." And I remember picking Grand Theft Auto, but didn't know the title at the time. So me and my cousins were playing it. We're playing it up to like wee hours in the morning. And when we got back from school, my uncle had taken the game back, and we didn't know what game that was. We just knew that it was just like you overlook and you can just do everything that you wanted to, and you can like engage with cars and all kind of things. And so at that point when he took it back, we were just like, we don't know what the game is called. We don't know what the game is called, and I believe like a year or two even went by where we didn't recognize the actual game was Grand Theft Auto. And so I was more so like, that was the game that we played. That was so awesome, and we never came across a game like that before. And that's how I knew the first game was that. And so ultimately, am I to confirm? Let me see. Let's go. Perfect.
Grand Theft Auto. And
So Grand Theft Auto, and then at that point, it was almost like I love like story games, and so ultimately it was geared towards like games like, let me see, so Red Dead Redemption was the first one, was a really good game for me, that I was able to immerse myself in another world, as well as what would be another game I could vividly remember. Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption. And then, you know, sports games is everything. So NBA 2Ks, the Maddens. In college, I was, you know, as a technician, like I was fixing consoles, I was always privy to all the games that were available. And so, that was the moment where we'll play games while individuals will be in my dorm room while I'm fixing consoles, or just, after I fix the console, we'll just play the game and then chill with individuals on campus. And so I will be playing games like NHL, FIFA, NBA 2K. I'm not too much of a FPS individual because it's so, you have to play the game to really know the maps and everything. And,
yes.
I never really just had the time to play a game for a long time. I never have been that individual, just because I've been like really work focused and like really behind the scenes of the gaming industry. But I know how to play a sport game, all right? And if I do have some time at night where I have an hour, I can be immersed in the world and, travel around the world and things like that, and just be like at awe at the environment that's there. But a sports game, I know sports, so I know I can pick up a controller and play a sports game. FPSs, you have to be very, you got to be knowledgeable of the map, the guns, everything about it. And
the meta.
I will find myself, the meta, right? I'll just find myself not as good. Even too, fighters like this, like Street Fighters and Smash. I never really was as good at it because you have to know the meta. You have to know all the different characters, and so I just never really had that time to get really good at a game because I was either running track, studying, or working. So, yeah, so for me, just tinkering is much more of my thing.
Tinkering, nice.
Yeah, tinkering with actual consoles, taking them apart, fixing problems is something that I can really spend hours and hours and hours doing. And that's why I knew that was my light bulb moment when it came down to being in this industry at in college.
We're about to win this. Oh. Yes, we won.
We won. Awesome.
I honestly forgot the tutorial on what's buttons what. So this is definitely button mashing fun. The Iron Giant's cool though.
Yeah.
I like the Iron Giant.
For sure.
So okay. So you this idea of college gameplay with friends, tinkering. We have such a fun common history there. I was always getting asked to help somebody fix their computer or fix their console or something.
Yep.
And then you did what I didn't do, is you took it into a career. I just said, what a waste. I don't want to. I could I guess make money doing this, but you actually did it. And now, okay, so growing up though, compared to college Red Dead Redemption, you like story games, but what was your first game? What was the first game you played?
I want to say Harvest Moon.
Really?
Yeah,
Nice.
Harvest Moon was another simulation type of game that I was really engaged with. That was my first game. Granted, you have your Super Mario's, though I guess that would be earlier than that.
Sure.
Harvest Moon. Yeah, I would definitely say the Mario was the Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong Mario was those two games that I played a lot growing up as a youngster.
Okay, now this idea of being a Mr. Fix-It took you into. Was there something you did before being a technician in computers? Did you work odd jobs growing up in high school or anything?
Yeah, I did. I worked a lot of odd jobs.
Yeah.
So my uncles they cut yards, so I would cut yards. I was so inspired to actually get a truck in high school that I got it early before I can even get my license. And I would actually take a truck and attach it to a trailer after school, and just be hoping at that. For a little bit of time, I was hoping I just didn't get caught, but I wanted to cut yards. And then I finally got my license because I was just too young. And then
nice.
So and then I got my license, and literally I was just cutting yards and going from yard to yard with my truck and my trailer.
There we go.
And then I would take that actual same truck and attach a barbecue grill on the back of it. And a barbecue in high school. Yeah, so and then
You're such a little entrepreneur. Then look what you are
that
now.
same truck, like that trailer of my uncle's, we would clean out foreclosed homes.
No
with
way.
It, you know,
Nice.
so that was a great opportunity to go into like mansions in high school and like really see what people had in there. Sometimes it'll be like full of dog, like they'll leave their dogs in there, be full of crap everywhere. Sometimes you find some really good priceless items. It's like pawn shop war. Oh man! I also in high school, because I had a truck, I had a sound system in my truck.
Oh, of course,
And
yeah.
I was very engaged with amps and subs and capacitors and the gauges, wires. And I would actually I had one of the best sound systems in my vehicle, to the point to where people would ask me to build out their sound system. So that was another entry point in regards to being a technician and being very engaged with audio and sound and technology.
Wow.
So
I
that
love
was
it.
my thing in college. High school.
I do remember the fun in my I had like an old '79 Chevy pickup truck, and at one point I think I had 16 speakers. They were all crappy speakers because I had like a really bad, terrible $50 amp, and I was like, I put speakers on my door and behind my bench seat. And I enjoyed working on. I worked at O'Reilly's when I was I don't know, in college, I guess, but I really enjoyed working on vehicles. But yes, the 100% speakers in the truck. I was always jealous of people like you who actually did it the right way, and I just kind of put a bunch of crap everywhere. That's so funny. So funny. I love your entrepreneurial spirit, man. I mean, this makes so much sense as to what you do and who you are now. That it just makes sense to what you created.
And I credit my mom so much. She's really that first entrepreneur that I've seen in regards to tech, and she has always been like, the contractor consultant to large companies. So she had to actively run her own teams and run her own companies around that. So I've always got a chance to see that side. I just wasn't at the aptitude at such a young age to really be a part of that. So for me, it was more so labor, really like, being in the trenches type of, get your hands dirty type of jobs.
Yeah. So she was a consultant for...
Yeah, she was a consultant for multiple companies like IBM. She worked on platforms with Oracle, several different companies that she's really been, as a woman, and especially African American woman in tech, she's opened so many barriers for so many other women in the world, and just even individuals from a minority perspective, working with those large companies. And so she's always been my number one inspiration when it comes down to the ceilings that we think are there, that are there, but they are also we're also able to raise the roof. And so that inspiration has always been, it's made me fearless when it comes down to, engaging with, individuals that may not look like me. It made me understand that I could be in the room and just be as intelligent or valuable to that particular room, no matter what I look like. So she helped me. She instilled that in me.
I love that, man. And do you have brothers or sisters?
I do. I have three on my mother's side, and I know, right?
Thinking about it.
I had to think about it. 3 on my mother's side, and then my dad is married into 6 others.
Okay.
So I grew up on both sides where I go with my dad, and there was 6 of them. And then my mother is 4 of them, 3 others.
Wow, that's awesome.
I'm the oldest on my mother's side, and then I'm the youngest the second to youngest on my dad's side.
Wow. So Thanksgiving's fun? Get together.
Yeah, Thanksgiving, we're an intense family. So like we like it's that's hilarious. Yeah, we don't really like celebrate like that much, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, not to get too soppy, but it's like it always tends to be like crazy drama. Like, so it's like it'd be like unreal drama. Like, so we kind of like have grown up to like kind of like do our own things, you know? And I think right now as we're getting older, we're coming back, you know, to that type of family type of structure, because we've always been like, you know, like working together, you know, like we're a family that really works together. So it's almost like I see you all day. Like I ain't trying to see you on the weekend, or I ain't trying to see you on the holiday. Give me my space, you know, like that's kind of how we all are. But we're getting better at, you know, doing holiday events. But I think it's because we're just older.
Right. Yeah, I feel that's true about family, and we're not in that high school mentality of my parents hate me or like everyone's against me. I want to be my own person. And why didn't I think of this? Why didn't I spend more time with my family maybe when I was younger? And maybe I've seen it and I've been it, but and maybe I'm wrong. Not everybody has that situation, but
yeah, we're gaining so much, you know, respect for one another and our families, you know, just because it's like this is the real time, you know. So, and then I'm really understanding the type of you know, pressures my family were under to take care of us. So like now when you get older, you're like, whoa, you really sacrificed. And you know, those are the cool things to be able to see. Oh, I got back up.
Nice.
Yes.
I'm struggling to get them off. Oh no. There you go. Bounce. Oh, there we go. It's all right.
Match point. Red team.
I am. This team, they're not. I'm hitting them so much.
I've learned as
There we go.
I've got in the business sense. I'm like, I felt kind of ashamed to play games. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like, like even like this time, like I'll be like, my team is probably looking at me play games. It's like, Danny, are you productive right now? Like, so I always kind of like am the watcher. So I'm like, what are they gonna say about me playing games? You know?
We got this. Right here. I got super move. No. Super move. Get him. Boom. Boom. Yes, we got it. Okay.
Is it super move? Like, why?
I don't know. I was glowing. Had to be something good, right? What are you playing on? Controller, or you got your keyboard?
I have my controller.
Yeah. Is it Xbox? So yeah, my triangle, or well, I guess what would your top button is like more of a power move. I guess I would.
Okay, perfect. Got it.
That's what
I've connected my controller to my PC.
Same. I'll try bin this time. Okay, so now we talk growing up, we talk fam, but excuse me, sorry. This entrepreneurial spirit turned into starting your own esports company and facility, Geekleets. What was the catalyst for Geekleets? What was the precursor to starting that, and what is the journey to get there? How did it all start? And obviously it's now Esposure, but I remember that whole journey, how it in progress, but I don't know what happened to get there.
Yeah, for sure. I think you know, when was this? So in college, a part of my capstone, I had to design, and I still have that design to this day. I had to have a design that I created an esports bar LAN center in college, and I had to really I had to really use SketchUp to build out the design, you know, understand the metrics of the space. I did this in college, and I knew for a fact I didn't have the money to execute it, but I thought I did. You know, I knew that this was what's going to happen, and I just didn't know how long it would take. So I knew I had the layouts, the business plan, everything, because I did it in college for my capstone. And because I was running tournaments and, you know, in the gaming industry, it just made sense. And so I ended up moving to San Francisco to work at a tech startup, and that was my moment where I was able to learn everything as much as I possibly can in regards to you know, developing a tech company from every component, from the marketing, finance, the development perspective, you know, raising capital, like everything from that perspective. And it's in San Francisco, so it's like, what other better place you would want to be at that time to learn from other individuals that are in the space. And so I always knew I wanted to go back to that business plan. I just knew I was in a position where I had to learn and be a student first and really learn from the experiences that I was offered. And that came about based off of my professor in college who made the connection and said, hey, I know somebody that want to, you know, help you get up here and then want to hire you. And, you know, if you graduate, a little bit early, I can get you up there because they just raised X amount of capital and they're starting. So I remember that was my moment where I was like hustling, bustling, trying to work, make money, do my classes. I graduated. She said, I'm gonna let you have this opportunity, but you gotta pass my classes. And I remember passing with a 71. Yeah, and she was just like, I know you're busy. You got, you know, and at that time, my younger brother was in high school and he lived with me in my dorm room. And so like, she was like, I know you got your brother. I know you're running a business. I know you have this class, but just pass, please, and I can help you get to San Francisco. And I did. And she made the connection. And so I knew going up there that, one, I owed her the dedication for actually being up there and taking things serious. So I was like a monk in San Francisco. I didn't go out and party. I was a vegan. I didn't talk to girls. I didn't do it for 2 years, 2.5 years, man. I didn't do anything except go to work, focus, try to learn as much as I possibly can, and grind like unreal grind. And came back. Some really crazy things happened in San Francisco. Some really intense things happened to where we had to sell a lot of the stuff of the company, and I was provided a severance package. So that moment, I was like, do I stay in San Francisco or do I take all my knowledge? Is this the time that I take my knowledge back to Dallas, where I grew up at? And it was an easy decision, you know, to make that. And so I came back, plus my brother, who also moved with me to San Francisco, he wanted to go back to Dallas because he wanted to play sports. And being in San Francisco, you know, sports is not the way to go. Just because of everybody there has money. Most people have money. They put their kids in private schools, and the public schools are very small. They're not competitive in sports. And when you come from Texas and want to play football, you know, we recognize for him, he did not want to be there. He wasn't like techie, so you know, he wasn't expressing him wanting to be in a tech scene. So it was more like football, you know, sports. And so from his perspective, it was like, come back. He was in high school still, right? So he coming back to Dallas and experiencing football, and they were winning state championships here in our area. So he was like, I want to be here. And so that decision made it even more easier to come back. And that was the moment where that was the first time I started working with my mother, who's now our co-founder and CTO of Esposure.
I knew that.
And you didn't know that?
No, I don't think I ever talked about that with you.
Oh man,
I just know I know your other or soon-to-be family, or fiance,
Brittany, for sure,
I don't know.
I told you we're family. We've been working with each other for like years. So this is the first time I worked with my mother, and that was at IBM. And no one knew for the time we were there for like 2 years. No one knew that we were family. They probably like sensed it, but they never said anything. So it was like the perfect opportunity to learn, learn how she works, learn how she engages. Yeah. You know, see what people will say behind her back. Sure.
Okay, that makes sense.
It was like very interesting to just be there and not have it as like a nepotism. You're there because you're your mother. You're there because you really deserve to be here and you work hard. That's how we really want to keep it. And And you know, at that point, you know, the project ended, and that's when I told her, I was like, hey, I really want to do this esports, you know, facility that, you know, I built in college. And so I started looking at places, and I knew I also needed to get a bigger facility than my apartment at the time. So I started searching, and ultimately I found an individual that lived in the downtown basement. And at that point, it was I had got a 2,000 square foot space and converted that into an esports arena, you know, esports arena where I took my office, I took my bedroom and turned it into a spectator area where people can see the games being played. I put my bedroom in the closet, like I put the bed in the closet, so I lived in the closet.
Really?
No lie, yeah, for sure.
Oh my gosh, I
yeah,
had no
for
idea.
Sure. For sure. And the downstairs area was the arena, so we put 5 consoles, 5 PCs on one side of the wall, 5 PCs on the other side of the wall, and that room into a production room where, you know, we can do commentating and things like that. And that's when I just started inviting gamers out to run their events, because we were building a tech platform at the time that was geared towards a tournament hosting. You know, I had done so many tournaments, and I was like, well, we can create a technology company around a tournament platform. But quickly I recognized that there was a lot of other tournament platforms out there and trying to differentiate why yours is better without real-time funds, you know, and raising capital and trying to raise capital with not too much success. That's when the actual notion of being a minority and, you know, raising capital and being like, you know, the amount of minorities that actually raise capital is like less than, you know, X percent, like very, very small. That's when I recognized, that's when I was feeling it at the time. Like, what is going on? You know, like there's, you need capital to build, but then it was like, well, you know, Danny, you come from, you know, humble beginnings, so, you know, be resourceful, you know, like eat a peanut butter jelly sandwich, you know, like it's okay. Make that peanut butter jelly sandwich really, really good, you know, make it to where you can sell it in the store, you know, and that's where that mind state came from. Just like spend less time trying to, you know, convince someone to help you, and spend more time on like the product. And so I use that more time in a facility is just bringing in gamers and asking them like, how do you like the product? What can it be done to get better? And I recognized a trend, and that trend was I was really engaged with sports games. Okay. But sports games is on the lower spectrum of esports. It's the tier 3 titles. And, you know, there's not a lot of support and funding that goes for it. So I looked at it as a great opportunity. You know, like I can try to build a tech platform and try to tackle tier 1 titles, but they're already saturated. So like if you really want to develop something, how can you add value to the sports game titles? Like how can you make a bracket that's geared towards sports games and with better efficient? At that time Smash.gg was out, but it was really geared towards Smash, you know? So, you know, if you wanted to host a tournament, it was perfect. But if you want to host a tournament for Smash, I mean, with Smash.gg, with other platforms, I mean, other titles, it wouldn't be as, you know, it wouldn't be as optimal, right? So it's like, what can you do to create a platform for sports games? And that's what I really just started focusing on. And it was kind of crazy because while we were in this facility every day running tournaments for the purpose of building the platform, we were actually building a community for 2K without really knowing it on a pro-am perspective. So like no other titles had 5v5 competition in sports. And that's when I knew, like, that's why it's like behind, because everything else is very geared towards, you know, competition and teamwork and collaboration. And that's when the moment I was like, man, we got a chance to create an NBA 2K league with the 5v5 competition. And little did I know, like 2 years after doing all of that, they announced the NBA 2K league. And so that was a moment where a lot of our, you know, the individuals that were coming to our facility out of Dallas or traveling to compete in these 5v5 matches, they were like, deuces, we're gonna get drafted in the NBA 2K league. You know, that's at that time it was $1.2 million prize purse. So immediately, that's when I started looking at it as like, man, we see these players getting drafted. Like today, we've seen 9 and 8 individuals that have, you know, in the Dallas area that are in the NBA 2K league now. And it's still, they're active. Like, well, a couple of them are not, but most of them are pretty active. And one done some really, really cool things in the actual space. And so at that point, I was just like, well, you can't beat the NBA, you know? So gotta kind of think about development.
Yeah.
And that's when I started thinking like, man, can be like quote unquote a G League experience. But most importantly, I looked at it as like, wow, this is more than the G League. This is development, not only from a gamer perspective, this is development for, broad production and graphics, because I didn't have the team, at the time to do it. So I had to go to schools and ask for, volunteers and look at students' portfolios. And that was the point where we actually brought in individuals from those schools, those local ISDs, Lancaster ISD, Dallas ISD, to come help us run events for those 5v5 competitions. And we were just like, wow, like, this is a bigger opportunity to really help develop the skill sets of individuals within the industry. Yeah. And at that point in 2015, that's when I knew, like, development in the industry is more important, because only so many individuals are going to go pro, and we've seen individuals go pro, but we had a bigger community than the ones that went pro. So what do they do if they don't go pro? And if the way the 2K League structure was it's once a year, it's every 6 months. So after you play and you make it in 2K League, and you got 6 months to figure out something else to do to make some money. So at that time, players will come back and be like, hey, can I work, at the company? Yeah. In between times before I go back to the NBA 2K League. So that's when I knew, we got to be a developmental company more than anything, because we can tap in and impact more individuals outside of just gamers. And then that's when it started to really sink that we needed a larger facility. Because at that time, being in my home in a basement, my neighbors wasn't for that. Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, and like they're yelling, like we're in the basement level underneath the ground, but we still had, it was a skyscraper, so it was still like people on top of us.
Oh, okay. Did you? Yeah. What did you do? Did you call it Geek League too?
Yeah, it was Geek League. Yeah, it was definitely Geek League. Yeah, so that was Geek League, and it was like Geek and Athletes, So that was like the moment where it was like, okay, like, we really want individuals who are in the technological industry to feel like they're athletes, which they are, and also make it synonymous for athletes that want to be considered a geek, which they are, And so I really thought about a name that was really just like, welcoming, inclusive, to all individuals within in multiple communities. And that's why I really was like, this is the name that we're gonna go with. And then we recognized that space was just not conducive to what we're trying to build, and we went and got a larger space, a 15,000 square foot space at that time. And then that was pretty awesome, because it really put us in a position to where we can engage with schools and allow them to see an esports space as they're thinking about building out their clubs and programs. And COVID hit. That was pretty crazy.
So, okay, so all that led up to the facility you had inside the strip mall, right? Mm-hmm. And that was Geek League. Yep. But you then, March, as COVID was hitting, you changed to Esposure.
Yes, for sure.
And definitely that was in March 2020, the height of the beginning. And how long were you planning that before the actual rollout, the Esposure?
Yeah, I think the hardest time of my life definitely was during that time of COVID, because 1, we couldn't get anybody in the building because of COVID. Yeah. 2, we had so many schools over time, because it's a long process to really, galvanize esports and gaming in a way that an educator would say, oh snap, let me bring this to my superior or my admin or superintendent to really, put some fuel on building a program. And so it just took, tours and field trips and boot camps and so much that goes into it. And then just to know in one blank, you can't do it anymore, right? Because of COVID. And so at that point, we were sitting there in the building like, what are we gonna do? What are we gonna do? And that was the moment where I went back to my experience in San Francisco, and hearing that we got to change the actual company, really fast, just due to investor concerns and things like that, and building a new product in like less than 6 weeks. That experience that I had in San Francisco made me go back to, wow, like we're going to have to go in the trenches, and we're going to figure out how we can still engage with the schools, but in a way that they're used to, which is virtual. And we had to really think about like building a whole nother platform from a technological perspective that can engage with the actual schools. And we did it. It took us about, I say 3 months, 3 to 4 months of just like grind time. And we built a platform that's similar to a learning management system, and really was focused in on creating content, using the space to create content and store that content onto the learning management system to ultimately provide to the actual educators. And there was a moment, the crazy moment, I got a call from one of the schools and was like, hey, we need something for the students to do. And we have a grant, and the grant is used for agriculture and taking the students to the hospitals and farms and such. And we're gonna take them to your space, but there's no other spaces open because of COVID. You have a virtual option. And that was the moment where I was just like, whoa, the 3 months of us building this out, this is our first opportunity to really engage with our client. This is our first client. And then we just took it from there and just really recognized that we can really provide content, programming, courses to that of students to really learn about esports and gaming, and then just ride the journey up until COVID was, much more. It was much easier to come into a live space. And that was a moment where we also had the opportunity to do more productions. Everyone wanted to do virtual productions because they couldn't do live productions, so they were contacting us because in esports and gaming, doing a live production like what you're doing right now, it's super engaging, and people really didn't know how to do it at the time. So that was another revenue opportunity for us. And we just went in scrappy mode and just really understood like what we need to build, where our revenue was going to come from. And with us being a company that hasn't raised any funds, it's a straight bootstrap company. We really had to dig deep. And you gotta think about those conversations at those times where it's like everyone has to be involved. I remember having those conversations. It was like, hey, if you don't want to be in these trenches right now, do not slow us up. Like I need to make sure that everybody is on board. And if you're not, just please leave, because we don't want to slow up this process. We don't have a lot of resources. We got to be very we got to be very tight, And it always takes me back to those moments where you got to build a peanut butter jelly sandwich.
Yeah, dude.
That's so good. Yeah, so it comes being part of an area where you didn't have a lot of resources actually has its you don't see it at the time, but it really teaches you how to be incredibly resourceful. And that was one of the things I like to talk to students about. It's like, don't be mad that you just didn't come from a fluent area, or you just don't always have the money, or your parents don't have the resources. This is the perfect time for you to develop the ability for you to be very, very resourceful and innovative, and really build something that people still can use. But it doesn't have to be picture perfect. It just has to be a really good concept that people need at the time. And for us, like going like that, the panic that the teacher, the educator, the CTE director had at the time when she called me, like, I have these students, I have nowhere for them to do, I'm panicking. Do you have a solution? And saying, yeah, we do. And she's saying, thank you. Like that, when you can build something and you can feel that, that's when like, that's what you do it for, is to help someone who's maybe in the most panic area, help them and relieve them with something that you've created. And that's everything.
Okay.
I am totally letting everybody know, like, I am trying my best to play this game and talk, to Bubba, but it's not the easiest thing.
You just got the winning blow. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm trying. Like
just took it.
competitively, I want to be very good at this game.
Yeah, you're doing great.
But I'm doing not. No, that's great that you're saying that, Bubba. But
look, we'll look at the stats. We only lost one game. It was the first game when I was halfway trying to fix the stream. So yeah,
I like the optimism.
Well, I'm just a positive guy.
I love it.
I look at you talked about your production and what you were doing, and I always have considered you an inspiration to things that I try to do. Whenever your videos and the stuff you put out, the content you put out, whether it be your educational stuff or just be, hey, we're Esposure, this is us, blah 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 blah, and you talk, the visual production of your lighting and your backgrounds and just your energy is always refreshing and inspirational, man. So I have just looked up to you in that sense, many other ways, but
I
for sure
have to tell you
that.
you know, I thank you, but it's not me. It's the students and the individuals who have been that I've reached out and worked and developed and leveraged their talents from post high school to post college.
Yeah.
They put everything together, you know, like, and that's how I want Esposure to look at, like just similar to like Full Sail, where everyone is doing, the students are doing all the work. That's how we want to have Esposure, to where it's like these students, and we've seen it in a high school level just by the development in this industry and what we've had to experience, and we just are really just trying to make it to where it's just like it's student focused, and the students have the skill sets to, you know, receive the type of kudos that you just provided. Their skills are good enough to get that type of kudos. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, why not make this program in our company geared towards student success? Because they have the skill sets and the acumen to do it.
So humble. Love it, man. Super encouraging. And I do see do you have like stats on, hey, we've sent X amount of kids to, and we've been able to do X for students. I mean, obviously your Esposure for all, there might be some plug in there, some content you put out.
Yeah, for sure.
Like what is it? Do you have like a go-to thing you put on a deck or whatever it says, we've been able to serve X amount of people, or given these opportunities to these students because of, what's your go-to kind of info there?
Yeah, we do. But I ultimately, like, I don't really be thinking about the numbers like that. I kind of just, I literally just be like, you know, I see a lot. So I usually say, like, in regards to the gamers have turned pro, like the 8 that's there. But when it comes down to the amount, I say it has to be well over 25 to 30 that have actively obtained jobs in the actual space. And literally probably like 10 of those are like working for companies that are like highly known, you know, like within the esports and gaming industry. So I really kind of go off of that element as far as the amount of students that have gone through our programs. It's well into the hundreds. And so ultimately, I'm just looking at how many of those students from the programming will come out and do something really good, which I haven't found a way to quantify that yet. It's something that we're trying to figure out, like how do we quantify a student that is engaged with our programs go off to do something really, really cool. And I think the number is much higher than we know, but we're trying to figure out how to quantify that right now. Yeah. What I do know is, it's gonna sound funny to say this, but which is a good problem to have, it's the individuals that are actively working at the company that get poached to other companies. I know those, right? Like I'm like, I know those. I can count those, you know, which is cool, you know, like
yeah, sure.
You know, like, you know, so it's like I count those, so because those are really, really cool opportunities to be able to see.
You're like the church of esports, building people up and sending people out, man.
That's what it should be like, you know, like individuals, like it's hard in this industry right now where there's no really good blueprint just yet. Like it's still, everybody's still developing it. You know, so people are trying to figure it out. They're trying to figure out where they're gonna go, you know, how they're gonna get there. And, you know, we only can do so much as individuals. So, you know, I try to humble myself to know, like, you know, Danny, just exert as much energy as you possibly can, as much resources. Try your best. but you can only do so much. And if you can just spark the light of someone, hopefully they can take that and go do some really, really dope things and figure their way out in this actual environment that's, there's no blueprint for it.
I guess it's up to me.
I just hope that, they can see, someone that looks like them, working just as hard as them, to find their way in this industry just as much. And that in itself will let them know like it is possible. So I try to use this as a great opportunity to impact our community and say, hey, I like gaming. I like this industry. I'm not a professional gamer. I found a way to, develop a company in this industry. You can do it too. There's no secret sauce to it. It's really work hard, network, be a good person as best as you possibly can. You will have individuals that are going to not aligned with some of your visions. That's okay. There will be individuals out there that will find them, protect them, provide as much energy, and just let you can do it. Basically, that's the biggest thing. And then ultimately just try to give more experiences. Like I try to talk and here's what I've experienced. And I try not to do it in a way that when we were young, we look at the older person like, well, when I was young, I walked 2 miles to get to school, like I try to do it in a way where it's like, it's authentic and relatable, and up to times when it comes down to it. So it is a huge weight, responsibility, I should say, to really, put yourself in a position to really impact individuals. And our team, our executive team, the team that we have at Esposure, they are gung-ho with, ensuring that students are getting the best programming and best insight and best experiences possible to help them develop. And it's really cool to be able to know our executive team is majority women. So that, just to be able to know that nurturing personality is just instinctively in our company. And that nurturing is very good to be able to know individuals want to see student success. And we're trying to build the blueprint as we go.
Yeah, that's so. Yes, I have noticed that about your company, about
justice
very
will come for you.
I love the diversity.
Yeah.
Compared to the sad, realistic toxicity and diversity issues of our industry.
Yep.
There's way too many of me.
Yeah. Match point.
Sorry, Mike Russell in the chat says 2 miles. I remember I used to be, it was 10 miles. Oh shoot, we got it. I was honestly scared of Superman, and I know why now, because we just got owned by Superman.
We just got done in.
And then here's my youth pastor, Kyle. He says, the Church of Esports. Unlimited life hack code shared every Sunday morning at 10:30.
Man, that's the goal. When we built this facility here in Duncanville, Texas, the goal is to always be able to, if any point that I just wanted to, because I love this industry, I love educating, I see a great opportunity to level the playing field for my community. So I have an invested interest in my community here, and just being able to pop up on social and just say, hey, come meet me at the Esports Education Center, and I'm gonna do a segment on how to create content, and then they can come in and listen to that segment as a professor. I want to do that at any point of my existence, just to be there as a beacon. So it almost kind of gives you that church vibe, where individuals in our community can just come in and just listen to individuals within the industry about certain topics and really be guided in a positive way. That's why I feel like the building for me personally is one. I've just naturally been doing that since doing this out of my dorm room, to doing this in Dallas, to building a 15,000 to converting it to an 8,000 really nice facility. It's embedded in me to have a facility to really shine light on the educational opportunities in esports and gaming. But it's also a way for me to really look at this as a sanctuary for individuals who may not know what other routes that they would like to go, and they may just they may just walk in here and it's like, whoa, I never knew this existed. This is something I'm interested in. Please tell me more, and that's kind of how I look at it.
That's amazing.
Just for you.
I love this, man. This is really good stuff. Hey, Chris, thanks so much for the subscription, brother.
Chris,
on
Chris,
Twitch.
Chris.
Chia Picks. So it's funny that you mentioned that. I remember, so Connor, Coach Olney, he was showing me this church in Iowa, and I think he made like a TikTok about it. He's like, this is a church that's no longer there any longer, but I'm going to turn it into a gaming center where people can make content. I don't know if he's ever going to do it anymore, but because he lives in Kansas City. But yes, what I love about our industry is especially the folks that I get to work with, and a lot of faith-based
This isn't over yet.
and religion in gaming that I get to, you didn't expect. People don't expect in this industry. Because you know there's a stigma around gaming as well as when it comes to co-addictions and being too into video games and not into other things. But yeah, I really like it. I don't know if maybe it's just because I surround myself with those people, but and I think that's a good thing. Probably I just think it's written somewhere in the book. A big large book with 66 books in it. So
for sure.
But anyways, I want to go back in our last 8 minutes here and talk about the how do we overcome. And this is not the silver bullet by any means, but what has been your mantra on helping overcome the diversity, equity, inclusion issues in our industry? I hear you say it, but I would love people to know kind of. God, Superman destroyed us again. I would love to know how people can maybe not only just hear what you have to say about it, but how to understand it better from your perspective on not just really people who look like me that are in the space and the money spent on the wrong the money you talked about it, the sports simulation games and the fighting game community are always left in the dark when it comes to pricing.
For sure.
So, how do you feel about all this? Big
like it's it is, but it's okay. You know, like one of the things that I just look at it and is I try to just lead by example. Like that's probably like I may not be the most technical or when you think of me in regards to a specific skill, like I have a lot of skills, but I don't have like a skill that I'm just like I can go get a doctorate over it. I don't know. I'm just probably just talking, but I try to lead by example, and diversity is the biggest thing that I can, show leadership in, because I want to show how valuable we are as individuals, right? I want like, and it was like very interesting because yesterday, we were at Region 10 and it was about, building out the Texas State standards for esports curriculum, something that I've been wanting to do for many, many years, and as a company in the esports space that are looking to help esports or individuals who are interested in esports, get into the industry, because there isn't a pathway in the high school collegiate at that time, and it's still very small now. This was my work on trying to do the best that I can to pull individuals up, and then going into the room and recognizing like, wow, like I'm the only African American in this room of educators that are interested in esports development. And I'm just like, but at the same sense, I have the most experience in the room from industry, right? So I'm in my mind like, if this releases, these are going to be individuals that are going to take this to their students who do not look like me, and ultimately my community is going to get completely left behind. So in my mind, I'm just like, I have to keep this here because I got to go leave this room and go to every school in my community and bring all those educators to this facility and advocate and say, hey, this is coming up the pipeline. Start to prepare, engage with our students that look like us. Do not let them get left behind, because it's not going to be helpful for this community that's here. When it comes down to it. And I don't want our community just to be looked at as, oh, these are going to be very good gamers that come out of our community. But we want to look at our community as individuals that are very good animators and graphic designers and production technicians and, CEOs and, chief operating officers in this particular community, because we see it and it can be done. And I just, the diversity is like, I have to show that, you know, we are diverse. We can work with individuals who do not look like African Americans, or work with women, you know, or work with Asian Americans. And like, I want to show in the company that, you know, everyone has a value and it can work, you know, and it can work for a company that, you know, that is, you know, essentially like, they don't have a lot of the resources, you know, like, you know, I don't leave here and be like, look at our company's bank account and just like see millions and millions and millions of dollars that that has been provided from an investor. I don't have that capability. So it's like, okay, how do we create a product? And is that product valuable? You know, how do we make it work? You know, that's how we have to look at it. And I want to show that, I want to show that it's possible and you don't have to go that route in order to be successful in this industry. Now, who's to say we may find a dope investor that says, we really believe in you, the terms are good, all of those are there. Who knows? You know, we don't know. But at the end of the day, you know, I want to be able to show our community that it is possible to build a good product, have a diverse company, and add value to an industry that is innovative and emergent. And just that insight, if that's completed, it will spark the inspiration and the impact that's needed in our world across all industries. And I think that's one of the biggest pressures that, you know, for me personally, I have on me, is to know, like, this is bigger than just esports. This is bigger than just gaming. This is the next pathway for individuals who want to go into art, or, you know, medicine, or, you know, agriculture. You know, us showing how we're doing it now can invoke, you know, creativity for the students that are coming in up under us. And I think that's one of the biggest things I focus in on when it comes down to being bigger than esports. So I wanted to answer it really in depth, you know, based off of the diversity, but I'm an experienced, like, also, I'm not the type of person that would, like, you know, like, speak on, you know, diversity or lack of investment in minority companies. It's just, I've been that kind of person where I feel like I should, because I have a platform, but I've just been that person that's just like, you know, like, make it work, you know, like, put your head down.
Yeah, you're a doer, man. You
just go and figure it out, you know. But I also, on the flip side, feel like I have a obligation to do it, and I always battle between both of those. So, you know, having this platform just to even talk this authentically, it's hard for me to even say that type of stuff. And you have me in a comfortable, you know, realm where I can speak freely in regards to that. But it's a challenge for me every day, because I just want to be like, I know the statistics that are out there, but I want to prove it in regards to the work that's there, because at the end of the day, younger individuals, they see data and things like that, but, you know, they want to see if you're doing it more than if you're just talking about it. And I think the biggest thing, you know, like, they want, like, if I go in my community right now and I just go talk to them, they're gonna be like, cool, you know, but everybody else talk to us, and we want to see you doing it. And that's why, you know, people in our community, that's why, you know, they are engaged with more so, like, when someone has a good gold chain or a Lamborghini coming through the hood, like, they see it, so they're like, I need to go do that because I can see it. So you can tell me all you want, but if you don't got a Lamborghini, why am I listening to you? You know? So for me, coming into that environment, I'm more so like, I got to show it. You know, I have to build this, and somebody has to walk in and say, whoa, you built this? You're like, yeah, well, you can too. You know, like, you can do this too. You know, so that's one of the biggest things that I look at when it comes down to engaging with individuals, to speak on, like, diversity and speak on opportunity, and just keeping your head down and really just trying to be as good, you know, value you can to the actual world that's out there. So that's the best way I can answer that.
And it is the best way. I appreciate that, man. Well, thank you for learning some multiverses with me. I think it's a really good game.
Yeah.
This and Knockout City and Rumbleverse, the new kind of it's like wrestling. I think it's on Epic.
Yep,
but I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot lately. It's definitely a game that needs to be in the communities more that want this kind of gameplay, especially just what we've just talked about, diversity, equity, inclusion. So
Yeah.
I hope you play it some more, and maybe you get some your staff to play with you. That way you can smoke them now, since we went like 78% win streak.
We
there.
did. We definitely did.
Superman
Our
really
team,
got it.
our team plays. They use the stage. They
Mm-hmm.
play together. I'm just like that person that's just like watches. You know, I'm just always in that mode where I'm like, I'm enthused by just watching. But I do need to play more.
You need to play more, because otherwise, Danny, you're gonna turn into the grump. You know, you guys are playing those video games. I'm over here pushing and grinding and working.
Now, no, I do not want to be in that position. So thank you for letting me know that.
I don't think you are. You're pretty amazing, man. Well, you have the floor this last minute here. I'm gonna give you solo, and just tell us where we can find more about information about you, about Esposure, and all the stuff you're into.
Yeah. I'm gonna use this time to say this. Like, one of the coolest things is cool that Michael, and individuals in the stream. I'm so inspired by how Michael and Christy has built, this pathway from a curriculum perspective. And, I've always told myself, like, we got to do that. We have to, like, this is, like, we've been so focused in on, project-based learning, which is really, really awesome. It's portfolio, it's industry. And now we're like, how do we add value to the industry in that same type of capacity, from a curriculum design perspective, and really looking at Esposure as its own academy. And so I think when it comes down to that perspective, like, I've just been so inspired by the individuals within this industry. And, I just really want to, there's a huge focus now on curriculum design, projects-based learning, and making sure that our programs align with, the Texas standards, because this is our home. I always have this saying, it's like, if your home is not taken care of, you can't do anything else, And so really just focusing on and really taking care of our home and really providing quality is what we're talking about in our company right now. And we're all aligned on the actual direction to really impact, the DFW area and hopefully areas around Texas. Because seeing what Georgia is doing and other geographic locations is inspiring. It's like we really have to be that entity that's really helping the ecosystem in the Texas area. And right now, people are looking at us to do that, and the pressure is on. So
amazing. Very, very much appreciated. So thank you for coming to play and coming to hang out and smoke some fools and multiverses.
I got some wins in today.
Yeah, but stick around in the VOD Ninja, and I'm gonna close out the show. And I appreciate you, man. Go check out everything Danny Martin's doing. Check out his LinkedIn. Check out any of his socials. Twitter, he puts a lot of stuff there. And please, what is Esposure's website? Is it esposure.gg? Is that correct?
Yep. Esposure.gg.
Check it out, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate you, man. I'll catch up with you in a minute. All right, everybody. Thank you once again for being here today to watch some multiverses and enjoy the conversation. And thank you, Kyle and Mike, for being in the chat, and Chris for being there with a sub. We'll be back in a couple weeks. Got some things lined up. We've got different folks down the pipe coming in. I know I've got AJ, Ashley Jones from NACE coming in a few weeks, and Julie Mavro George from California will also be on the show here in a few weeks. So thank you guys once again. I appreciate you. This is Invite Sent. We're a live streaming show where people play video games and get interviewed. So stay amazing. See you later.
Hello, my My name is Christy Kester. As a public educator for the past 24 years, I have watched as interest in esports has exploded in schools across the world. Last fall, I joined the High School Esports League and helped to establish the education department. Since then, we have been working hard to integrate esports into education to create a scholastic gaming experience where students can learn, play, and compete. With our evidence-based, STEM.org-approved gaming concepts curriculum, schools can offer 4-credit classes during the school day that help improve chronic absenteeism, student engagement, and mental health.
As a senior health advisor for High School Esports League and a former ER physician, I see the incredible need for supporting mental health in students in today's schools. In fact, schools at a formidable crossroads where a pervasive and persistent decline in youth mental health now intersects with staff burnout. This has not been a sudden problem, but rather one we've seen over decades. The American Academy of Pediatrics announced in 2019 that 1 out of 3 students meets the criteria for generalized anxiety disorder before graduation. And the CDC reaffirmed that between 2009 and 2019, depression increased in adolescents by roughly 40%. The most telltale sign that grabbed all of our hearts was when the Surgeon General announced in December of 2021 that female adolescents increased their visits to the emergency departments around the nation by 51% for suicidal ideations. In the face of this, schools are desperately seeking solutions and ways to support those that struggle with mental health challenges. Now, these statistics that I mentioned are averages. We know there are some cohorts that are at higher risk, particularly those students who do not feel they have a safe place or a legitimate connection to school. That's where esports represents a tremendous opportunity. Students who are not currently involved with sports, music, arts, and traditional extracurriculars are left with minimal opportunities to make a connection. Yet many of these students find connections to their friends and other social outlets through online activity, including gaming. So, Scholastic Gaming represents an opportunity to leverage an area of interest into a legitimate class that meets state standards and expectations, all through an evidence-based curriculum that can simultaneously support self-esteem, self-efficacy, and life skills in many kids who desperately need it.
Hi, my name is Michael Russell. During my career as a teacher, I was fortunate enough to have the support of my administrator as I began the journey to establish the first 4-credit Scholastic Gaming course in the nation. At HSEL, we have the resources and data to help you speak with your administrators about the impact that Scholastic Gaming and esports can have for your students. We have strategies that can help you with acquiring technology and curriculum, such as ESSER funds, grant applications, and partnerships. The High School Esports League has invested significant resources in helping our education partners, and we are excited about this opportunity to help you establish Scholastic Gaming in your school.
Varsity Esports Foundation. Founded in December 2018, the Varsity Esports Foundation was created by a group of esports professionals. Our mission is to create an inclusive, safe, and aspirational network of gaming communities for all. The Varsity Esports Foundation is a 501c3 organization established to offer financial assistance to schools and to provide a pipeline for students to reach their potential through esports. We have 4 foundation goals. 1. Build a network of inclusive gaming communities. 2. Create scholarships for students within these communities. 3. Ensure a safe environment for all players. And 4. Promote gaming literacy across the ecosystem. The foundation has funds for a limited amount of assistance to support schools with league fees and/or computer equipment. For more information, please visit us at varsityesportsfoundation.org. Varsity Esports Foundation, a pipeline for students to reach their potential through esports.
Every day we ask so many questions. What should I wear? What's the weather going to be like? How am I going to fit everything in? But then there are those bigger questions, like why am I here? Where am I heading? Is there more to life than this?
I had arrived at an answer to the most important issue that we humans ever deal with. Is there a God? And I had arrived there without ever really looking at the evidence. And I was supposed to be a scientist.
28, I had gotten many of the things that I thought I wanted. My girlfriend was on the cover of magazines, I had a Beamer, and I was so unhappy. It was a realization maybe that I would never find happiness where I was looking for it.
I think for so many years, I always just strived to be strong in myself. All I needed was me and my buddies and, we'd be like invincible. But the truth is, none of us are.
I found purpose, I found meaning, I found hope. God took something so broken and made it a beautiful art piece.
Alpha is a place where you can be yourself. You can say what you think and challenge everything. No question is too complex or too simple. And what your point of view is as important as anyone else's.
We are going on a journey together, an adventure to explore the questions of life, faith, and meaning.
College esports and the CECC is back.
If they can chase sweet, sweet victory.
The CECC is back.
Will San Jose's winning streak come to an end?
College esports is back.
A ruling team story or an underdog story. Let the series begin.
College esports is back. So we've got something going for both of these squads. As Choi Boy's not even looking at him.
CECC is back.
They have competed at an international stage. They have been in this position before.
College esports is back. It's a new year filled with new players, but the same collegiate esports action you know and love. Join me, your host, Paulie Hype, as we kick off the first stop for the CECC roadmap September 17th and 18th with the South Region Online Qualifier. You can catch all the action starting at 10 a.m. EST on twitch.tv/esportsu. I can't wait to see you there. It's a brand new year, and I'm just getting started. Woo! It's a year of hype. Yeah! We'll see you this weekend. Woo!